everybody, and welcome to another episode of Dreams Unveiled. And today it is just me, Daun Whittaker. I am in Florida, and today is a nice warm 60 degrees when you come from upstate New York, and it looks like we're going to probably get a little bit of rain today, but that's all right because last week it was in the 80s and we've really been enjoying our time visiting my father-in-law. It's been a good experience. So with that said, today we're going to do another episode of Common Dream Symbolism. The 4 symbols we're going to look at today, and some of them we have indeed visited in previous episodes, are houses in dreams, driving in dreams, missing appointments in dreams, and not being able to speak or scream in a dream. So the first one we're going to talk about is a house. We've discussed on many occasions that houses in our dreams represent our inner self in various capacities. Could be our emotionality, it could be our personality or character, it could be our life experience, it could be a combination of all of those. But in a nutshell, when we dream of a house, we are dreaming of aspects of ourselves. So just to give you a little bit of a quick guide, because that means the rooms in the house means something. That means the condition of the house means something. So there are various things. Sometimes the house may change. That also would mean something. The dream we will be going over next week, the house in the dream was with a young family, and then later in the dream it changed to 2 elderly people, and the state of the house had changed as well. So that all of that means something in a dream. But I want you to think about this from the standpoint of logic. You look at these relative to what's going on in your life, to who you are, and you can put this together. It's a very common sense process, even though sometimes the imagery may seem very weird and unusual and undefinable. So, a house in a dream. Each room can have a specific meaning, and sometimes in a dream you're only in one particular room. For instance, if the room that you are in the dream is the kitchen, that kitchen will typically represent nourishment. It can represent creativity. It can represent how you care for yourself, how you keep yourself fed figuratively. Anything like that. It could represent the comfort of a kitchen. Family room, living room could represent your interpersonal relationships, how you interact with people, how people perceive you, or how you feel that they are perceiving you. Remember, in a dream, the dream is about you, so it's very important to understand it's not really about how people would perceive you, it's about how you perceive people perceiving you. So the great thing about dreams, in my opinion, one of the great things, other than really helping you to understand who you are and why you are dealing with things the way you are, and the dream actually provides an opportunity to look at things in your life without any consequence. So you can check out, wow, I really have a lot of anxiety in situations like this, or I really am struggling or feeling overwhelmed when this happens. This situation really hurt me. Those kind of things. And there's no consequence. So you can really explore your waking life from this with a standpoint of, I have information and understanding that I did not have when I went through that situation. So the bedroom, for instance, would represent closeness, intimacy, your innermost self, maybe your deepest, innermost thoughts. And that would make sense. It could represent just all types of intimacy, and it could be that place where you rest and refresh. The bathroom can represent many different things. Obviously, cleansing would be the first, and that could be any type of physical, emotional, spiritual cleansing, away with the old, bringing in the new kind of cleansing. But it can also represent emotion. It can also represent emotional releasing, getting rid of, the, feelings that you are carrying around, getting rid of burdens that you are carrying around, anything like that. And like I said, you need to always measure anything, even any of these symbols, with the day to day, what is going on in your life, with your character, who you are, with your emotions and feelings. If I'm ever talking about a dream, and we use the example of the snake that was molting, and what a positive symbol that can be. If you are deathly afraid of snakes, it's not going to be a positive symbol for you. So it's very important that you look at all of this relative to you. This is a very subjective process, but we do have some objective pieces that we can start from as we're doing deciphering and analysis. The basement. The basement in a dream is likely to represent things that you are keeping hidden, secrets, things you don't want known by other people, repressed feelings, repressed thoughts, anything like that. If you start dreaming about things in the basement, it may be that you're not addressing something that needs to be addressed. You're not taking heed of something. You're not concerned about something that maybe you should be. Maybe things that you need to talk about and you're not talking about them. The basement is that place. And then finally, the attic. The attic can be a place of higher thinking. It could be a place of, if you're in an attic, thinking about your past. It could be memories of things. A lot of times that comes with the connection of storing old things in the attic. So anything like that could be, but the aspect of it being higher thought is really because it's the highest room in a house typically. It could be you at a higher level of thinking, just examining where you are in your life, or seeing critical changes, that kind of thing. Lastly, with the house, the condition of the house. If your house is disorganized and messy, that may very much represent feelings of being out of control, being overwhelmed with things. If everything is neat and in its place, it may be a really good place for you, literally, in your life. If the house is deteriorating, it may represent that you're not taking care of yourself, or the things that need to be taken care of, or feeling very powerless. So all of that is relevant in the dream. The condition of things and the rooms, all of that. When you're looking at a dream, most things have meaning in a dream. And I think that's how your brain can actually deal with an issue that requires much more than a few minutes in real life. So next, we're going to look at driving. Driving is something that we often find ourselves in dreams. So, and once again, just like a house, the car, the condition of the car, the state of the car, all matters. And once again, the same thing. If the car is really unorganized and messy, that really can represent being out of control. If the car is dilapidated and falling apart, that could represent you being extremely overwhelmed or in an unwell place in your life, just like with the house. And and you cannot take care of things. You're not taking care of things well. Life is really overwhelming, that kind of thing. You may be depressed. So any of that could apply depending on the state. If the car is in great condition, then that may be that your vehicle, that yourself, you're in a really good place. And it could be you're in a good place physically, spiritually, emotionally, or all. And the dream is more about the driving than the car. And that's fine. So the car in the dream, if you're driving forward, it literally means you're driving forward, that you're driving forward in life, that you're going in the right direction, you're moving forward. If you're going in reverse, it likely means that you're either preparing to switch directions, or you are going in the wrong direction, or you're going backwards, right? You're taking steps backward in your life. And it really does mean that. If you're driving a car that's out of control, it literally translates to that your life is out of control. We just did the dream with the truck going up the snowy 90-degree angle, and it's just all over the place. And that typically translates to somebody whose life is out of control. And it's pretty straightforward with the driving. If you are a passenger in the car, it doesn't mean the same thing than if you're driving. It means you have no control. So whatever happens, good or bad, you just have no control. I had a dream once where I was driving and I had a passenger in the car. And for me, I believe this was a spiritual dream. But I was going down a very steep hill and I had no brakes. The only problem is I didn't know I had no brakes. So I'm just driving and enjoying life and having a great time. And my passenger gently let me know that my brakes weren't working. And because I had that knowledge, I was able to safely and easily come to a stop at the bottom of the hill. And I think for me at the time, with what I was going through, it was talking about some new directions I was taking with my life, and that even though I'm not in control, that it's taken care of, and I don't need to be afraid. I need to move forward, and God is in control, and I can pursue what I was looking to pursue. So what was going on in my life was very relevant to the driving part. So that's driving. And just like I said, this is just an overview of common dream symbolism. These are things that are pretty common in our dreams that we universally share. The next one is when you cannot scream or speak in a dream. And this one is a very obvious piece. And when if you're doing your own dream analysis, you write the dream down, and some of it you may not understand, but start with the places that you really understand well. Start with the places you really understand well. And if you can't speak or scream or call out to somebody in a dream, it typically means you're powerless. You are powerless. You have no ability to cry out for help. And that is a pretty standard thing. It may be a little different depending on your situation. We just recently, within the last 4 weeks, I think, had a dream where the wife was calling out to her husband for help, and he wasn't answering. And it turned out he was sleeping. So that's a pretty literal translation, is she felt that she is unheard, that she is not being listened to, that she is not being heard, and that in the situation that is unsafe in her mind, that there was no help for her because nobody could hear her. So pay attention to that. That one is a good one to really pay attention to, because the reality is you may not recognize that you feel that way in your day-to-day. And that happens a lot with dreams. They alert us to things. Sometimes we don't recognize that something's affecting us the way that it is. And like I said, with a dream, there's no consequence. The final thing we're going to talk about today, and some of you may have experienced this, is getting somewhere late, arriving at school and the day's almost over, missing appointments, missing a flight, anything like that. Uh, this is a pretty common symbolism for feeling that you cannot meet expectations. And especially you're not meeting others' expectations, but it may be that you're not meeting your own expectations. So I think probably not being able to meet expectations is a great source of anxiety for many people. You may feel a loss or that everything is out of control. You can't be on time. It may be about priorities, right? You're late for something or you miss something. So it may be that in your dream world it's recognizing that your priorities may be a little off and need to be adjusted. In your real life, you may be having significant anxiety or frustration and having difficulty prioritizing. It may be feeling that you are out of focus and you are unable to regain power in a situation. I mean, think about, this whole idea of just missing things. You may feel you're letting people down, you're disappointing people. It may be you may be experiencing some real insecurity in things. So all of those things in context with what you're dealing with or who you are. I mean, some things may not be exactly what you're dealing with at the time, but it may be your mind's way of doing a self-assessment of sorts. So if it is your character to handle things a certain way, that may be challenged in a dream or explored in a dream. So those are your 4 dream symbolisms for today. Next week we will resume with a dream of somebody that I met here and they shared a dream with us, so we will go through that dream. And in the meantime, I hope you all find this information useful. Like, share, subscribe, and have sweet dreams tonight.